we're screen recording right now. All right, so let's start with, and then I want for you to look at my screen. Okay, you see that? See my screen? Cool. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is some of the new changes that we have to Trello and Dropbox, or just stuff in general, so you can understand kind of how things are now. Cool. Okay, so you've seen it, but I want to make sure you understand, so the whole idea is that we're moving to a more structured, in general, more structured. Things are just getting better and better. So on the side here, you're added to every one of these cards, so you should be added. If you're not, you just got to join yourself, but you have access to everything because you are part of the CRE818 team on Trello, right? So if you see, there's a lot of boards now. So quick look. So if you go back to the home page and you're looking at this view right here, you click all team boards. It takes you to this view right here, and this is where it shows every single board. We have them where the cover now is designed, and it shows this is the post schedule, this is the story schedule, because now what we're doing is we're separating them, because I want to use it in the same way that we actually map out what are we posting each day for the posts. I want the same thing for stories. If a client's got an event, then I want to be able to map it and use it that way. So let's see if I can show you what that looks like for one of the clients that we've done it for. Something like that. That makes sense? And in here, it's not too much stuff. There's no captions really. It's more so about having the content in here and understanding how it actually flows. Now, going back to where we're just at, the reason why this is important is because when we add a new client, there's going to be a string of stuff that you'll have to do in order to get this client basically added into our system. Our system is a lot of different stuff. That's including that, whether that's a buffer, whether that's the information. So I'm going to kind of show you what that looks like. So everything's broken down, and if you look on the side, they're all broken down by collection, meaning these right here are basically our clients right now. All the clients that we have a Trello board for, or it's all internal stuff, right? So we have Carrera. You click Carrera. There's two different ones. Let's say for the room, they have 4 just because we do more stuff for them. We have a Google posting schedule, so Google My Business Schedule, they have one for that. Email marketing, there's one for email marketing and all the other stuff. Main clients are going to only have post and story, but it could increase depending on what they do. Taqueria handles their own stories, so we just have a post schedule. So everybody has their own. So if we do more, then we create a new collection and we add those clients in, or go back to the home page, or exit out of there, or from here, if you click at the bottom, it'll let you add to which one. Make sense? Okay, now CRE818, again, same thing. These are all the main boards that we use for us, and you can select them there. So going to CRE818's, so you've seen a lot of these right here. So client management overview. This is the main one right here when it comes to managing the client stuff. As far as it's one client. Rather than before we had one board that had everything for one client, we've separated to where they're different lists. Just so you know the lingo as far as Trello, each one of these is considered a list, right? So this is a card. One of these is considered a card. A column like this is considered a list, and then this whole thing is considered a board. But it shouldn't be confused as to when you create something that there's a checklist. That's different. A checklist and a list are different, right? Just so we understand that. Okay, so on the left side, this is what we call a template. That's basically what we call the template side, which is the breakdown of if we have a new client, then you can copy information from here, and then we can move it over to that particular client's. If we have a new client. So let's say Fly Bike Smoke Shop. We're going to want to copy this because this is the hours information, or you can you want to copy it and we'll move it over there and you're going to input it. So when we have a setup for a new client, you'll work on just about all these stuff that's relevant to that client. Some of these clients aren't going to have it. So like Fly By Smoke Shop doesn't really have a menu, but maybe they have other stuff that we have to find what's relevant to them. For sure, everybody's going to have hours of operations, their business information as well, from their general business address to who's our point of contact. Example, if we had the bike shop, for example, the point of contact might not be Juan because he might not be the one that's wanting to answer all the questions all the time, or if they're too busy. Instead, it might be the business general manager or the manager or a sales employee, and then that's who we have to figure out. If you don't know what any of this information is, you can always ask either me or Eric in the chat, or you can ask the client itself. Ideally, we'll work on some sort of intake procedure to show that, but this is where you're going to add everything, so there's one place to have it. So if Eric comes to you, or if I'm looking at this for the first time, I should automatically be able to know if they have an Instagram, social media handle, what their apps that they're on, and we can do the research to fill this in, right? And it goes with each one. Again, credentials, we're going to be putting them in here every time, breaking it down per client, so that's very easy to see what they have. As well as I'm going to explain this to you, internal email. So what this means is with every single client, I want to have a internal email. So Eric creates the internal emails. What that means is an internal email is used. So for Instagram, what we'll do is if we need to add them to Storito, for example, you know what Storito is? Okay. Oh yeah. We'll come back to what that really is, because I think he was telling me that he was showing you a little bit, and I'll show you what I know about it so you can get up to speed. But Storito basically is it's basically like Buffer, but for stories, because it'll automatically post stories. In Buffer, you can schedule it and you got to post it manually. They don't do posting the stories. Storito will auto post the stories so that you can share them out automatically. So with that, the way it will. So basically, what this internal email means is what we'll do is we'll add that as the private information for their Instagram account, so that if it sends a code, it'll come to us. Because what I don't want to happen anymore is I don't want us to create a fake Gmail account, and that's how we're getting the codes. We're going to do it internally because they're all aliases, meaning they all come to one mailbox and it's easy. And we can create as many of them. But when we need that, so if you get a brand new one from a client and you need that internal email, Eric's going to do that, right? But you have to let them know what we need to make that happen, and then you need to put that in here so that I know what it is, because if you talk to him directly, you got that email, or we have it way back, and I need it again to verify it, we'll put it in here. Now, it's one of those things based on client's preference, where we're either going to put that internal email in their Instagram account to validate it, then take it off if they really don't want us in there, or if they don't care, like some clients like Gyro Time is not going to care if we have it in there, as long as people who are contacting them is contacting them at their business email, right? Does that make sense that there's two different emails? I want you to let me know if you want me to repeat something, if I need to say it again. The good thing is I'm recording this whole thing, so you should be able to look back on it later. But just let me know if you got questions, okay? Okay, so again, that's internal email. We're gonna have credentials. So again, just to keep this short, all this information in the template folder is golden for each one. So you see some of our big clients are all filled out, and as well, we told you about the visual menu. You should be looking at these to make sure we see and we understand what each item is for each client, and we can visually see it. So that's going to be very easy for doing captures, because you should see. If you don't know what this is, or I don't know what this is, I can click on here and know it's right. And if we don't know, we're not 100%, ask the client chat, because it's always okay to say, like, ask what it is, right?
If it's not in there, 100% we can ask the client.
If it's not what?
If it's not in there, 100% can ask the client, because we need that information.
Yeah, if it's not in here, right here, if it's not one of these, then ask the client 100%, because we need to make sure we know what they are. And I want that just one time we ask them, and then we'll always know. Now, another thing here, inactive menus. There's some menus for clients that actually aren't running, and it's one of those things where we actually got to take this out. We have our frozen margaritas in the inactive menus. I'm going to take that out, because frozen margaritas are still running, right? So I'm going to delete that. But everything else in here, queso fundido, whatever you call it, chicken salad, and elote, those ones aren't on the menu right now, from what I understand. And if they change their mind, then we'll actually take them out and we'll add them to the actual menu. Does that make sense? CJ? The reason being is because, like I said, there's some clients that took menu stuff out, like for JJ's, they took out ribs, biscuits, and gravy. And in those conversations, that might have happened like 3 months ago. So you might not have been able to see that or read that. But by looking in here, you should be able to be caught up to speed immediately as to what should and shouldn't be on there. So if it's something we miss, we're good. If it's something that you know, either way, both of us, all of us should know. But for some reason, if some slips through, or we have to have you post a story or something like that, you should know right from looking in here. And then everything else, and then we should have, and then okay, one more thing. So when it comes to campaigns for clients, I want to pull up. Let's see if I pulled up an example, and actually I should be able to just create a new window. Okay, so let's see if the, I actually don't think they're gonna have a lot. Let's go to Taqueria. Open their calendar. Okay, so here's a calendar. So let's say 2 for 10 burritos. Like, let's say if we had burrito promotion for a campaign, for each client there should be a tab in here for what their campaigns are, and it's either going to be or let's and actually a really good one is going to be Uncle Bear's, because they have their summer menu promotion campaign. So I think part of the problem that I've seen in the past is us not, as a group, not fully understanding or being on the same page as to what each campaign is, right? That makes sense? Can you hear me? We're not all on the same page as to, am I loud enough? Can you hear me okay? Or is it low on your end still? Okay, cool. All right. So, like, the one of the big things is us not being on the same page as to what each campaign what each campaign is and what it's about. The reason being is because when it comes to campaigns, I really want us to make sure that either the design or the video is really highlighting what that campaign is, or if it doesn't, or if it's maybe it's just an overlay, a graphic, or it's a video about the item but not talking about it, we use our caption to explain the details or what it's about, or give the customer information for whatever that campaign reasoning is. So and when it comes to that, there should be, I don't know how I got out, go back to there. There's a campaign for each client, and Eric is going to be the one that should be primarily updating this, but I'm going to work with him to make sure that we're still caught up to date or help out if we ever need it. And this is where we're going to have the example. So example, happy hour, if that's our current campaign, either me or Eric is going to make sure this is updated, but this is your go-to when you see the campaign, what it's about. So for example, Tequila Tuesday, that one, there is no special, there is no promotion. All we're doing is highlighting different tequilas and what kind of tequilas that we're talking about, more focusing on the type of tequilas, maybe some history, some information, where it's been made, more about the elegant side, especially for Cocina Madrigal or Centrico. Now, again, for to go, for example, right now in here we're talking about, we're calling in or picking up. They don't have Uber Eats or Postmates that they promote. Technically, they're on those apps, but they don't want us to promote it. We've asked them before in the past, they don't want us to promote it because those are third party. They're not associated with the business. It's like equivalent to someone just going picking it up and bringing it to you. It's a little different situation. So now for another client like Salvadoreño or maybe Centrico that actually has something like that, we should put in there, and we'll let you know. For example, in here, instead of just pick up, it says takeout and Uber Eats. Those are the two options. So we do that across the whole line. So the main thing here is to look at the campaigns for whatever month and understand it. So the family deals for Salvadoreño, we're putting and writing them down. For to go, we're putting in here as well. Central location has all of these ones. Gilbert only has these two. So when you're using the captions, you should know based on that what it is that we're trying to showcase. Ceviche, that was top 50 dishes for the Phoenix magazine. That's something you're going to want to talk about, but you're never going to know that unless we use and we're looking at this, because whatever details are in here is what me or Eric is choosing for us to know, to highlight. And if there's an offer, we'll do an offer. If there's not, then we won't. So again, so we'll have that. The idea is that these will be refreshed every month. So all of these are things that you're going to want to look at to make sure that your captions are up to date, and that's going to become a part of you really understanding the client, doing that research to make sure that you're good. And it's also going to minimize errors if you have these open on another screen or in the background, that you can just toggle back and forth to make sure that you can see what you need to see and recall that information. Cool. And if there's anything in here, so if there's anything in here that's old, that's outdated, that's not working, or that's not linked, you let us know and we'll update it. Idea is that we're looking at these consistently, and if we have a new client, I want you to understand how this works, because I want you to be able to add them. So let's say right now we don't have a lot of information by Fly by Smoke Shop, but we will soon. And when we do, I want to make sure that we're adding all that information here to where we're good to go, or we can literally just ask the chat and we can fill in all the information if we need to. So yeah, I want you to know that. So later, that's going to become a task set. We'll set a time aside, and you'll be able to work on adding that, especially if we get new clients. So, do you have any questions about this whole section right here, how this works, or does it make sense? Yep, 100%. Oh, and then I forgot to mention as well, digital menu at the bottom, an actual link to what their menu is. Usually it's on their site. If we actually have it downloaded, we'll add it, but it takes you directly to their site with their menu so that you can actually read the details. So you're not seeing, do we have this menu? Do we have this menu? It's all linked. It's all ready to go. That's the idea, making this easy. It shouldn't make your job easy. And if there's something in here that's incorrect, let us know so we can fix it, because this is basically our golden rule book for each client. This is our guide. So if because there's times when Eric will communicate with clients directly, me, him, and Eric might talk at a client directly, and there's information we're going to put into here to make sure you get everything, even if we miss it in chats. So let's keep moving forward. I think that makes sense. So the next one is going to be two sections: do work and task list. I already talked to you a little bit about this. Like I said, just to reiterate, the do work one, this one right here, is basically the Trello board for looking at everything as a whole when it comes down to look at whatever tasks that we have. So I'm going to use this for scheduling. So the way I want it to work is I'm going to put a bunch of tasks in here just before I actually schedule them, and you don't work on them until I actually assign you to them. And the goal is that we're having you do completed tasks all the way through. What I want to avoid and I don't want to happen is I don't want you to start scheduling a client before it's completely done. Like, my goal is to finish everything on that client, unless we absolutely have to because we're behind or whatever the case is. My goal, so like today I finished Cocina Madrigal videos. Eric finished all the photos and designs last week, so that one's completely done. So once I'm ready to go, I'm gonna add it right here. Caption and schedule. And again, all that means is that once I assign you to that, so I can assign you now, you're not going to work, you'll work on this probably tomorrow. You're not going to work on this tonight. You don't have to work on it. Honestly, when it comes down to it, and we're going to circle back to this, is because the way your structure is as far as how you work, it's going to be a little bit different than what we're doing before, but it's similar. But I want to explain that at the end. I want to explain all the tasks that's different, then we'll come back to that at the end, all right? So, but what I'll do is I'll assign you, I'll click assign CJ, it'll assign you to it, and that's when you'll know to start working on this task, or that it's an available task in your pipeline. Now, from your view, when you wake up in the morning and you say, okay, does CRE818, do they have any work for me? This is how I want it to be. It's going to be in the task list. So you just come here, and based on looking at this, I see two different things. I see reds, which we know that we can't do yet because the fact that you're waiting, it's not inside of Trello, or it's not inside of Buffer. So realistically, you should comment to me and you should let me know everything is captioned, or waiting for it to be in Buffer to start, or when it's in Buffer, I'll go in and get started. Whatever the case is, however we decide to make that work. But you should communicate to me so I know how to do that. So I know what the holdup is on that one. I just did this one, Cocina, so there should be no holdup now. Even the videos are linked. The photos and stuff should be in the folder. I linked mine just because there was only a handful, so it's easier. Eric has a lot of them that he adds, so it's not going to be linked all the time, which is fine. As long as it's in the same place, then we're good to go. So you know where, as long as you know where to find them, really. Then you finish it up, and then you complete it like we were talking about, mark complete, and it moves it over, right? So, yeah, okay, so we'll come back on details on that. So that's just that. That's straightforward. Now, for these other ones, there might be stuff in here that's supposed to be done as a team. I would say you will, unless, like, for the most part, we'll ignore these for now. Most of the times, I would say the stuff you worry about are going to be your own stuff, unless we specify, because this was stuff that we were doing more so when we're at the office and we're working together. If there's big projects, more so for us to track. Most of the time, I want you to only be checking this one, and that's going to be the one you're going to be working on, CJ's list. All right. Other than that, the other one that's different that right now I think we're going to be working on it, but eventually we might have you jump back into doing some stuff in it. But I want to let you know that way you're familiar with it. But right now you're not going to worry about it. But when we get to it, you will. So it's going to be advertising. So now we have a specific board when it comes to advertising. Okay. So this is our Facebook board. When it comes to this Facebook board, the way that it works is. So the way that it works is there's a column for each client, right? You see it? All down the line. Every time we get a new client, we're going to add a new column that we're doing advertising for. So when you click it, it'll open up this right here. And right here is the ad management for the rest of the 2020 for this client. That will show, or click one to take a look at it. It's probably going to have me view it in Dropbox. And it's Excel and Dropbox, so it's easily editable like your other timesheets used to be. And this will show the ad spend. It's similar to how the other structure is, but it's all one client in one. It's not multiple clients in one, so it makes it easier to manage. So if you ever were to run ads, and we have you run ads, the way it'll work is you'll put in here, you'll put in here, the same information, the campaign name, the video type, what type of it was, platform, all this information across here. And then even some of the stats, because I want us to start tracking and pay attention to the stats and how they perform, right? So, and when you do the stats, you're going to check the stats after they're done, and we'll also be able to verify. Because sometimes what happens is sometimes these amounts don't spend all the way, and I want to make sure that if you're running an ad and you said that this was $50, if it only spent $43.50, you need to change this $50 to $43.50 if it's over. Because what we're doing over time is we're basically saying we ran ads for a client that we didn't run, unless if they didn't run, you know what I mean? Then we'll use that $8 for something else. You know what I'm saying? It's just about tracking our work. So we'll have one of these for each client. Now going back to the Trello board. So like I said, see, this is a lot of information. That's why I'm also screen recording this, and I'm going to upload this to a YouTube on a private link, because I want you to be able to look back later and watch it again, because I really want you to comprehend and memorize all the stuff I'm saying. But trust me, I know it's a lot of information. We've done a lot of changes, and the whole goal is to make this way easier to scale and for us to work without mistakes. Now, this particular card. Remember, each one of these are called cards. So this first card never moves, never changes. The only thing that you do on this first card is you only use it to click this right here to take you there. Each one of them has you click there, so it will tell you the budget for that month for each client. As new budgets come in, I will automatically update them myself with that amount for how much we're adding. If we're pumping in $100 for ads for the next month for the room, I'm automatically going to add that once it comes in. If you don't see it there, then whatever we have is what we have for that client, and we'll have to make sure that it's all correct. Now, the way I'm going to run an ad, and I'm going to go through here, I'm going to put what the ad is called. So let's say they want Best of Phoenix, and we wanted to do an ad about that. Or let's say COVID precautions. Safety video. Let's say that was what the ad was called, right? I typed that in here. I filled this out. So I'm going to do all my information. Let's say I want $100 to it, and then I only want $25 on, oops, take out the labels. I don't know, no labels. I'm going to add this much. You see what I'm saying? So I have this all, I'm going to fill this out. The ad name is what I'm usually do the title, and basically the ad name is what you're going to call the ad. So I want the ads to start being named what I'm naming them, and not what the post caption is. Because right now, if you run an ad, it usually will show the ad name as a caption. You know what I mean? And it's very hard to see what those are. So that's how we're kind of getting away from that. Start date, end date, the post link. Once I put a link in here, it will automatically link to that post. So I want to show you what that looks like so you can see. So let's say I'm going to do the room, and I am selecting this video right here. Okay, let's say this is the video that I wanted to show, and I wanted to do the ad on. I'm going to copy that right here, and once I put it in here, then the link's here. All you got to do, you see that arrow that just popped up? Can you see that? Once you click that, it will take you to that page itself. So then you know exactly which one I'm talking about. Call to action. I can put website. I can put Bitly website link, which basically is Bitly. You know what Bitly is? Yeah, Bitly is a link. Yeah. Basically, yeah. So Bitly is basically our Bitly. This is Bitly, and we'll have these credentials in there. So let's say for in here, this will show how many clicks, and this is our way of tracking how some of these things are performing. Some of them aren't going to perform that well. Some of them are going to perform really well, but I want to know and see where it's coming from. So in here, and we're also able to tell and see where it's coming from. So when you're using this stuff, 90% of the time, we're going to be using Bitly links because I want to track them. So if we're saying the room's website, you'll use this, and ultimately we'll have inside of the client management overview, they'll have a Bitly link. You see on top, there's a Bitly link for each one. So there's one for the menu, one for Uber Eats. There's going to be one for Gyro Times website, and all across. That way, when you're doing this, then that's the best way to find where it's at. Cool. All right, now going back to the advertisements. Yeah, so that's it. So it'll look like this, and once it's there, I'll assign you, and then it'll pop up into your task list so you can finish it. And then once you start it, now there's a new button here. So the new button is Ad Currently Running. That means so once I do that, so I'll run it as an example. I'm going to click it. Ads currently running. So you just finished it right now, right? Let's say you ran the ad, but it's not completed because it's still running. It moves to ads in progress. You see that? So this means all the ads that are currently running. And then once it's in here, what you'll do is on a certain schedule, we have to make sure we're coming back and we're taking a look. So really we have to go through all of these ones right now, and we have to take a look to see how they ran. Did it spend the full amount of money? How did it perform? What do the numbers look like? And we're going to add the numbers into the spreadsheet that I showed you, right? So the numbers on here so we see it. And then once it's done, you're going to move it as ad completed. Then that's only when it's actually completely done. It's not spending money anymore. And then it moves it to completed ads this week. So that way me and Eric can actually come back, look at it, and see what's going on, because now that it's done, it also automatically comments this caption so that me and Eric can look at it. It says, this ad has been completed. The results are in Dropbox because you also included the results on it as well. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of steps to this, but ultimately it's just it's an assembly line. It starts here, moves here, goes here, and along the way we have very easy ways to track all the data because it's a lot of information that we need to get up and we need to stay on, right? Okay, so we're not going to have you dive into ads just yet, but I want you to know so you can look back on this later with the screen recording once I do have you working on them. Okay. 818 University should just be mainly, we'll come back to that because this is going to change, but this is basically our way to either use, you can use this as your own task list. It's probably going to turn into ways for us to put our training videos later once we work on that. But the main ones we use are do work, task list, client management overview, and advertising. Those are going to be the main ones that you're going to be working on. Resources, again, it's the same thing. This is just a lot of other resources that you can ignore until we let you know how we're going to use this. Okay, and I think that's everything in Trello. Yeah, I think that's everything in Trello, so I think we're good there. Do you have any other questions about Trello and how this is going to work? You don't have to net. Okay, if you do, okay, cool. Yeah, yep, sounds good. Okay, so I think we're good there. We're good on Trello now. Dropbox, we haven't made any changes to Dropbox, have we, Eric? It's all the same. Yep, okay. Cool, so I think we're all straight now. Now let's go ahead and we'll talk about the next section and your structure. So I'm gonna go ahead and I wanted to just stop on this part because I think that's all we need to know for the